I know my son's gone.
No one's ever really gone.
Hello there everyone, welcome back to Geekin Out. I'm yours truly, the Nate Myster, here for another Geekin Out video. And today I'll be reviewing the newly released The Last Jedi on Blu-ray and digital copy and also DVD, which I did not purchase, okay? My brother just purchased it and I wanted to go through the film again to see if I still hated this film like I did before. And let me tell you guys, that hate is strong in this one. The stupidity level of this film is so freaking high, so annoying, would make Darth Vader have a freaking field day. Ah yes, and this force-choking killing spree will start with General frickin' Hux.
Hi, I'm holding for General Hux.
I think I never had so much hate for a movie till I watched this film. Like, it's not only a bad Star Wars movie, it's a bad movie in general. And I would like to explain that to you guys and share with you guys my thoughts, my feelings, my hatred for this movie. And you probably get a good laugh out of it. So without further ado, let's just destroy this movie like freaking Death Star against Alderaan. Alright, just tell me one thing. After you have taken over almost the entire galaxy after one single move with the Starkiller base, you pretty much wiped out the Republic's main leaders and the Republic main fleet from the face of the freaking galaxy with one single move. And then when you were about to wipe out the freaking Resistance, they come in with 20 fighters, right? Led by Poe freaking Dameron. They destroy Starkiller base with half their fighters lost and Han Solo's death. So tell me, at the beginning of the film, with the opening crawl, you stated Legions of the First Order are taking over the freaking galaxy, one main system at a freaking time, and Rey even states that you will be able to take it over in less than a freaking week, maybe weeks. Just why, when the Resistance were planning their escape, why weren't you freaking ready? Why weren't you prepared to have your fighters out when you made it out of hyperspace? Even Supreme Leader Snoke told you, General Hux, to wipe out the freaking vermin, wipe out the freaking Resistance from the face of the galaxy.
We've caught them in the middle of their evacuation.
I have my orders from Supreme Leader Snoke himself. This is where we snuff out the Resistance once and for all.
And you weren't prepared to have your fighters out against friggin' Poe friggin' Dameron or any other Resistance fighters that will pop up to destroy the Dreadnought? Even Captain friggin' Kennedy, the captain of the friggin' Dreadnought, was complaining about your incompetence, General Hux, and the men's incompetence. Fighters that should have been out 5 minutes ago. The fact that General Hux kept asking why that one single fighter is still alive.
Why aren't you blasting that puny ship?
That puny ship is too small and to too close range. We need to scramble out fighters. 5 bloody minutes ago.
Because here's the thing though, General Hux.
General Hux.
Because small attack fighters like the freaking X-Wing have an advantage over large turbo lasers.
We count 30 rebel ships, Lord Vader, but they're so small they're evading our turbo lasers.
We'll have to destroy them ship to ship, get the crews to their fighters.
But wait, some of you may argue that, hey Nate, some of these TIE fighters may not have any hyperspace engines. That's true, most of these TIE fighters can't travel through hyperspace. But this shouldn't be an issue for you guys to have your freaking fighters ready. The Dreadnought sat there getting hit, bombarded by Poe Dameron's freaking X-Wing starfighter and no fighters to defend it. Because they were all sitting in the freaking docking base. And please do not tell me these fighters couldn't get out on time. You know why? Because look at freaking Empire Strikes Back. What do you see at the surprise attack of Hoth? Darth Vader's fleet makes it out of hyperspace, and immediately, what do we notice? We notice Star Destroyers, we notice the cruisers, right? We notice the freaking fleet, right? But alongside the freaking big ships, we have TIE fighters guarding them, flying information to guard the freaking fleet. You were coming into the Hoth system with a surprise attack. They didn't know what was going to happen, but you know what? They were prepared. And if those fighters did attack the fleet, they would have been prepared with their own fighters to clash against them. The fighters came out only after the turbulators were freaking destroyed by Poe Dameron, and when the freaking bombers came out of nowhere to freaking bombard the hell out of the Dreadnought. Oh my freaking god, Darth Vader would have been pissed when they lost the Dreadnought. Darth Vader would have made sure that every freaking TIE pilot that freaking failed and come in the defense of the Dreadnought would have been force choked the hell out of, and then Darth Vader would have killed General Hux for the freaking loss of the Dreadnought, the Captain Kennedy, and freaking failing at killing the damn Resistance fleet when they were escaping from the planet. Another thing I don't understand, after the First Order came out of freaking hyperspace, all they do is target the freaking Resistance base with the Dreadnought, when you can clearly see that most of the ships are already in freaking orbit. So why wasn't the first attack against the fleet? Cut off the enemy's escape by destroying the freaking fleet right in front of you. But Nate, you're just nitpicking at this film. Maybe. Or I just get pissed off at incompetence or the lack of common freaking sense. When you come into a freaking system on a surprise or freaking attack to wipe out the Resistance once and for all, take them out completely, no quarter, no escape, no freaking prisoners, you come in ill prepared when you could have just had those freaking fires at the ready. But then again, that didn't bother me. I would have been okay with this issue. Because, you know, not every film is perfect. There are plot holes. There are flaws. I understand that. But the thing is, the major freaking plot hole happens after this freaking scene. The Resistance fleet, after it comes out of freaking hyperspace, the freaking First Order fleet comes right behind them with a big fleet. I mean a big fleet. With a Super Star Destroyer the size of 10 Star Destroyers, right? Or 20, I can't remember. It's really massive. With 6 Star Destroyers. 6! Remember that number. 6 Star Destroyers, including the big giant Super Star Destroyer, would make 7. What I'm livid about is when Kylo Ren comes swooping in. Oh, and guess what? Right after they came out of freaking hyperspace, seconds after they came out of hyperspace, Kylo Ren and the TIE Fighters came out of their freaking hangars and started attacking the hell out of the Resistance fleet. Oh wow, we just learned this 10 minutes ago that it would be better to have our fighters prepared when we come out of hyperspace to attack the Resistance fleet. No freaking done! But here's the thing though, Kylo Ren comes swooping in with his squad of TIE Fighters and starts wiping out most of your fighters in your hangar bays, okay? Most of the fighters from the cruiser's hangar bays, and we lost Poe Dameron's X-Wing, so there's no freaking defense, no resistance, literally.
Ironic.
So here's the thing that freaking drives me insane. After you blew up the freaking bridge of the Moncari battlecruiser, which suffered a loss, one of the greatest admirals in Star Wars freaking history, known from Return of the Jedi, Admiral freaking Akbar, rest in peace. And then General freaking Hux orders you to pull back because they can't defend you from that distance? What do you mean can't defend you from that distance? What to defend against? You wiped out their fighters. They only have 2 freaking frigates and a Moncari battlecruiser without a freaking bridge or leaders. It's game. It's checkmate. You have the win! Why are you taking the win away? This is my issue with this movie from the very freaking beginning. You're letting them escape. You're letting them last longer than they should. And you give them freaking time to figure out how to beat you. You gave them 18 hours! So you're telling me you gained 3 more Star Destroyers from hyperspace throughout the entire ordeal. You couldn't send them in front of the freaking Moncari battlecruiser? Flank them from both sides, even flank them from all sides, so they cannot escape. You could have done that so freaking easily. They had nothing. What stopped you? Nothing stopped you. But oh Nate, like you said, they had nothing. So there was nothing to fear. What do you mean nothing to fear? They had 20 starfighters. 20, not even a fleet. 20 starfighters to wipe out Starkiller Base. The Resistance fleet has already shown you that they're not to be reckoned with. Why didn't you just wipe them freaking out when you had the freaking chance before they pretty much hyperspace suicide your entire fleet? Which didn't make sense at all. How did one hyperspace wipe out the freaking wing of a Mega Star Destroyer and 4 other Star Destroyers behind it? Aren't there any shields to begin with? Are you freaking kidding me? You could have sent them in front to create a blockade to stop the freaking Resistance fleet in their tracks. But oh, Nate, we've never seen those tactics ever before in the Star Wars universe. What do you mean in the Star Wars freaking universe? Empire Strikes Back. When freaking Han Solo was getting chased by one Star Destroyer, what happened? Two other Star Destroyers came from their front flank. Thanks to Han Solo's tactics, he was able to avoid them, evade them. And we also seen the same tactic happen in Return of the Jedi. Admiral freaking Akbar came out of hyperspace with his fleet against the second Star Destroyer. Look what came behind them from hyperspace.
It's a trap!
The Imperial fleet came right behind them from hyperspace with the Super Star Destroyer and Star Destroyers all around them. And last but not least, we saw this same tactic at the end of Rogue One. We see the Death Star come out of hyperspace with Target at command. He knew what he was doing along with Darth Vader. You know why? As the Rebel fleet attempted to hyperspace out of Scarif, who came in their escape path? Freaking Darth Vader and his Star Destroyer ramming against all this freaking fleet, man. All of it right there. That's how you use freaking military tactics, General Hux, you freaking idiot.
General Hugs.
The unnecessary stupidity forced upon this film makes Jar Jar freaking Binks' antics justified. Almost. Alright guys, let's tack on the character development in this film. The Canto Bight casino moments are freaking unnecessary in this film. Unneeded in this freaking film. And the only reason why the Canto Bight is in this freaking film, the character development of Rose and Finn together, and also the plot-driven device, DJ, played by Benicio del Toro, which I didn't mind DJ. I thought DJ was pretty cool, and I really wish they didn't have him betrayed again because it became so unnecessary after that point. I'm like, what? Why did you bring him in the first place? Because here's the thing, at that point, Admiral Holdo revealed information to Poe about her real plans, about the one planet that they took 18 hours to travel to. So why didn't they come out closer? Why didn't they come out an hour, maybe 25 minutes from the planet? But going back to the Canto Bight, what I find hilarious to me is the fact that when Finn and Rose escape from the guards, from the jail cells, they make it to the stables, the puppy dog horses stables, right? And they decide to ride their way to escape on these puppy-faced horses. Now here's the hilarious part. They leave the slave kids! They leave them behind! Rose, you just explained to Finn about the evil in this planet in Canto Bight. So why would you want to take these kids with you? And they seem like they don't have any parents. They're living in the stables. And one of the kids, he looks like he just came straight out of Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist. Alright, so what I find funny is that he uses the Force at the end of the movie to pull the freaking broom to him, right? So he has Force abilities. The kids probably know how to better their way to the freaking hangar bays. And Ryan, you decide to save the freaking puppy horses? The ones that are probably going to be captured in a day or two and put back in the freaking stables? Are you serious? The whole freaking chase into the freaking tall grass where they could have hid the ship? Oh yes, Rose, you are freaking right. Canto Bight is filled with the most horrid, the most evil, the most disgusting people of all time. It's filled with freaking stupidity, that's what it is. God! Like, all you had to do was hire Moss. Moss could have been the code breaker, or get Moss to find a code breaker for you, and then the code breaker pretty much would have been Lando Calrissian. Add a freaking cameo right there. Maybe add a little bit of Boba Fett. I'm just kidding. Boba Fett probably won't be able to pop up right now. Alright, let's hit on the character development of freaking Snoke and Kylo Ren. Alright, the moments with Snoke, I loved every freaking moment with him till the very end of his life. Freaking Andy Serkis really freaking pushed this role, man. I really felt it, man. His freaking power in his voice, his attitude, the way he conveyed himself to the other characters. Snoke was good, but to the very end, where he didn't realize that freaking Kylo was turning the freaking blade. I'm like, how can you not notice? Like you could freaking see the hand moving. And you could definitely tell that freaking Kylo was biding his time, waiting for the opportune moment to bring Snoke down. And I'm here like, but Snoke was supposed to train you! Like, you weren't ready, Kylo! You're not ready to face Luke, you're not ready to face freaking Rey, who's already overpowered as hell. She's a freaking Mary Sue of this freaking story, and you lost by her. And she never even picked up a lightsaber, even freaking Snoke mentions it in the freaking beginning of the movie.
You were unbalanced. Bested by a girl who had never held a lightsaber. You failed! Skywalker lives.
Apparently, the death of Han Solo didn't help him progress in his training. It actually made it worse. It actually split Kylo in two, in light and darkness, and the balance was freaking off, and freaking Snoke was not having that anymore. Now, there is a moment where they're trying to develop this kind of connection, this rushed connection between Rey and Kylo. Like, they're force connected somehow, some way, and Kylo even realizes that none of them are powerful enough to force connect each other this way from this distance. So they're trying to figure out how this is happening. They probably thought it was the Force. It wasn't. It was actually Snoke's, which is also an issue that I'm going to bring up in just a minute. My problem with this Force chemistry between Kylo and Rey was the fact that, oh my god, this man killed the only father figure you ever had, and you straight up forgive him after a day or two? Because you sensed the memories? Like, what if he was lying to you? Like, you could really tell with your Force Awakened powers that you were able to tell that he wasn't lying to you? It just did not make sense to me. It really didn't, because it was just so forced. I understand it was like months or maybe years after what happened, but there was no year gap. There was no months gap. It was a day after what happened to Han Solo. It was a day after his death, and she already forgave freaking Kylo. Are you freaking kidding me? The thing is, at the end of freaking Force Awakens, that Snoke will complete Kylo's training, so he'll be prepared to face off against Luke Skywalker and the new Force Awakened Rey. Why did we never get that training? You know what would have been perfect? Why didn't you just pull a Darth Vader from Rogue One? At the end of Rogue One, Darth Vader with a handful of troops went aboard Radish's ship, right? And he took out every single rebel troop he could freaking find. He failed in taking the plans, but he freaking wiped out freaking everybody. That should have been what Kylo should have done. That should have been the final step to complete his freaking training. And Leia would be the freaking final boss, pretty much. That should have been his freaking mission, along with the Knights of Ren. That would have been also perfect to introduce Knights of Ren, and also show off some action from Phasma. A lot more action than what you get with freaking Finn at the end, which was stupid. Phasma is just a joke. Disney just freaking copy and pasted episode 6 Boba Fett into freaking episode 8. Why are you repeating the missed opportunities and failures of the past? Do it better! But anyway, that could have been a cool idea. The way to complete Kylo Ren's training, and also that would have been a great way to lure out Rey and Luke Skywalker. You didn't know where they are, or you had freaking 9 Star Destroyers in that space. You should have used it to blockade them, hold the Moncari Battlecruiser hostage, and send troops in there to wipe out the freaking remaining 400 Resistance soldiers. Why didn't you see the opportunity that was before you? They should have had Kylo Ren, Phasma, her best troops, and the Knights of Ren aboard that ship. What's that, like 20-man group against 400 troops? Come on, would have been freaking perfect, just going wave after wave of rebels. And don't get me started on this plot hole mess. Why, just why, would Snoke need Rey in his presence to look through her mind to find the location of Luke Skywalker if he bridged the minds of Rey and Kylo? You would probably think that he would know the location or the idea of where Rey is, as he bragged about being so powerful that he was able to connect these two together.
It was I who bridged your minds. I stoked Ren's conflicted soul. I knew he was not strong enough to hide it from you.
Of course she's not over with the frickin' fleet that you're chasing for 18 hours. She's halfway across the galaxy playing with the Joker. It just doesn't make sense to me that you would be able to find her mind and connect her to Kylo, and you don't know the location of where that mind is coming from. I understand you couldn't sense Luke Skywalker's presence anywhere in the galaxy because, unfortunately, conveniently, he was able to cut the connection from the Force. That's why you couldn't find him. That's why no one could find him. Alright, without any further ado, the final discussion. Rey and Luke frickin' Skywalker. Oh boy. Now, the common argument I read and hear throughout the social media, those who hate Luke Skywalker in episode 8 hated his dark, brooding character. Like it was out of the ordinary. That wasn't my issue. I wanted a dark Luke Skywalker. I wanted a broken character. I wanted a broken Luke. He is the New Hope. Star Wars Episode 4 is named after him. The New Hope. What happened? That's what I wanted to find out. The way he was just brooding. Why did he end up this way? It was perfect. This was a perfect opportunity to build that character. And they did it quite well. They did, and I believed it. There was a hilarious moment, sarcastic moment between Luke Skywalker and freaking Rey. It was hilarious.
I feel something.
You feel it?
Yes, I feel it.
That's the Force.
Really?
Wow, it must be really strong
Oh,
of
I've
you.
never felt any... Ow!
I enjoyed the moments with Luke Skywalker. I really did. I really did. The issue I had was the foundation of that character's dark side. The reason, the freaking reason why we had this fallen character, a fallen Jedi, the fallen Luke Skywalker. It's borderline imbecilic. No, it is imbecilic. It goes above and freaking beyond. And I will explain to you why. Luke Skywalker, the reason why he fell is because he almost killed Ben Solo in his sleep. Ironic, isn't it? Because freaking Darth Sidious, he killed his master in his sleep, Darth Plagueis.
Ironic.
Irony. Okay, but the thing is, Luke Skywalker tried to kill Ben Solo in his sleep. And it was out of instincts, apparently. Snoke was getting to him, and Ben Solo's dark side was growing. And apparently, that dark side scared Luke so much that he instinctively pulled out his green lightsaber and freaking tried to kill Ben. But then he realized the mistake, but it was too late. Ben Solo retaliated and burned the freaking Jedi Temple, taking a handful of Luke's apprentices and wiping out the rest. This is my issue with this. And I've seen this issue brought up many times in the social media. Why? Why would Luke instinctively pull out his lightsaber to kill Ben for that? Rian freaking Johnson, do you realize what Luke Skywalker went through? And after the events of the Empire, he struggled with that idea that Darth Vader is his father. And when he finally found out by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, he decided to not kill his father, like Obi-Wan and Yoda instructed.
You must face Darth Vader again.
I can't kill my own father.
Then the Emperor has already won.
The Jedi would have never continued on. That was the plan. In order for Luke Skywalker to complete his training, he had to confront Vader and Darth Sidious. And Luke Skywalker decided not to kill his father. He spared his father out of love. True, this has happened before. Luke has been tempted by the dark side and pushed to attack his father when he threatened his sister.
Sister. So, you have a twin sister. Your feelings have now betrayed her too. Obi-Wan was wise to hide her from me. Now his failure is complete. If you will not turn to the dark side, then perhaps she will.
But the thing is, when Darth Vader threatens your freaking sister and friends, it is a real freaking threat. Because Darth Vader, he wiped out children, wiped out the Jedi, genocide. Thousands of Jedis died because of him. And he went into a hunting spree for years. A angry freaking hunting spree that Obi-Wan caused him. And he went out trying to search for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And all he found were Jedis to wipe out. And he trained for that. He was the literal Death Star before the Death Star was a thing. So tell me, how does the dark side of Ben Solo match the dark side of Darth freaking Vader? Ben didn't do nothing! He was just a depressed child. That is all. Ben Solo didn't do nothing. He needed someone to talk to. He needed help. Luke would have never done that. Would have never done that. This is what should have happened. My reasoning behind why Luke Skywalker left. After Ben Solo became Kylo Ren and Snoke's apprentice with the freaking Knights of Ren, who are a handful of Jedi apprentices that were part of Luke Skywalker's original apprentices, right? He wiped out the rest of his apprentices and the Jedi Temple and almost killed Luke Skywalker, but failed. Luke Skywalker, my reasoning why he left is because Luke Skywalker had this growing dark side, a growing temptation to use the dark side against Kylo and Snoke and the freaking First Order. The last time someone did this was Darth Vader. Can you imagine if Luke Skywalker embraced his dark side and gave in to the temptations? He would become an unrivaled force, and his dark side would grow exponentially. And Luke Skywalker, he would wipe out Snoke, wipe out Kylo, wipe out everything that he knows and loves, and his enemies. He would take over the galaxy. That's how powerful Luke would have become. With the might of the First Order, he will become the next supreme leader. And the reason why he turned to the dark side is because Kylo and the Knights of Ren killed his wife. The only woman you ever freaking loved, dying by the hands of Ben Solo, Kylo freaking Ren. Skywalker, he would go ham. And that's why Luke Skywalker left. Left everything he knew and loved. He left everything. Even cut himself off the Force. So he probably wouldn't be tempted by the dark side to go back and face off against Kylo Ren and Supreme Leader Snoke. He decided to exile himself in the far reaches of the galaxy where the first temple was and learn to control his anger. Because he can't forgive Kylo for what happened. He can't forgive Ben Solo for the death of his wife. And after Rey leaves to go out and save the last of the Resistance, we can bring that moment, that beautiful moment between Yoda and Luke Skywalker, where Luke finally opens the Force back into him, and Yoda speaks to him and tells him that it's alright, you can learn to forgive. And it would have been a beautiful moment. And still, that moment in the film was beautiful. And of course, there are redeemable moments in this film. Oh, and as for Rey, she's a freaking Mary Sue. She's just soaking up this Force energy like it was no problem. Like, there's no proof that Rey would have been able to face off against those royal guards of Snoke's with Kylo. Kylo, he could have handled himself. Frickin' hell, Rey holding her own against those royal guards who are trained to face off against Force users, the likes of Rey and Kylo? And you mean to frickin' tell me that she survived that? One of the guards he was facing drops the frickin' dual blade, where he could have just frickin' stabbed the living hell out of her. I'm like, really? Really, that moment? Like, come on. Even the story is making mistakes to have her survive moments where she shouldn't be surviving. She shouldn't be kicking ass. Because the thing is, she's not trained. And then people like to argue that Luke Skywalker didn't train that much either with Yoda. The thing is, people don't realize how the Force works.
That's not how the Force works. Oh, really? You're cold?
The Force is an energy field. It adapts. It grows with the individual, depending on the situation. It's like evolution, but 100 times faster. The growth of the Force depends on the user. If the user is constantly in the freaking battlefield, the Force is growing, and also their abilities are growing. They're learning on the fly. They're learning in the battlefield. And it takes years to grow this. It took years for Luke Skywalker to grow his abilities, and also he was a Skywalker. He became a Jedi Knight in such a short time with learning these abilities because he was in the battlefield, facing against the Empire, facing against the Sith Assassins, which are canon. It does make sense how the Force works that way. Because in Episode 1, what did we have? Anakin Skywalker, a kid who was able to race with the best of them. He was able to build his own pod racer, build his own C-3PO, because the thing is, he worked with machines, and the Force that was connected with him built that. Like, that's how it worked. Now, here's the thing. If Anakin stayed in Tatooine till adulthood, his Force powers would never grow past being a pilot or being a mechanic until a Jedi comes in to open his potential up to other branches of the Force. Again, we see this with Chirrut Imwe from Rogue One, played by Donnie Yen. He was a Force user that was blind, but also he was a guerrilla war fighter. He was fighting against the Empire in Jeddah, against stormtroopers. Because here's the thing, Chirrut Imwe's martial arts was an extension of his abilities, and his Force connection created this sixth sense that allowed him to fight the way he did. The only problem is he didn't have the proper training from Jedis to grow that extension with the Force.
Is your foot alright?
Now here's the issue I have with Rey. All she did with her Force abilities in frickin' Jakku is find ship parts. Only frickin' ship parts. I mean, she's good at scavenger hunting, I tell you that much, but as a fighter, as to use the Force to pull a frickin' lightsaber from the frickin' snow, when did the challenge rise for her to grow those abilities in Jakku? Never! Never! She used the frickin' Force abilities to find parts, and that grew. She was able to find ship parts to feed herself. Okay, that's cool, but it's not freaking cool enough to help you fight against freaking royal guards who are trained to face Force users like you. I would have forgiven Rian Johnson. I would have forgiven these moments that pissed me the hell off. That the hate I have for this film would have been forgiven if Rian Johnson delivered the 100% Luke Skywalker. The Hundo Luke Skywalker. I mean, this was your prime opportunity. It was your opportunity to show us the true might of a Jedi Master trained for years. This is Anakin Skywalker we never got to see. Why was Snoke so adamant at finding Luke Skywalker and destroying him? What was he afraid of? The board was set. The pieces were moving. It was staged for you. It was calling for you. We get freaking Kylo all pissed off, firing all lasers at him, armed and ready, you know. And then we get this stupid fight between Kylo and Luke. And Luke wasn't even there. Luke was freaking over at the other freaking planet, just doing a force projection from there, man. You really, this is 100% Luke to you? This is the true potential of a Skywalker right now? This? Freaking hell! Leia showed off more force power than freaking Luke did throughout the entire movie. She saved her freaking self from the vacuum of space. Oh god. You gotta be freaking kidding me. All you had to do was Luke to stand there and just after he flicks out the dust off his freaking robe, use a giant force push to bring down the AT-ATs to the freaking ground. Like, and after the dust settles, all that's left is Kylo Ren's ship up there. And he just calls him down. I want you. But anyway, this film is a freaking mess. Missed opportunities, problems galore, plot holes. This is not only a bad Star Wars movie, it's a bad movie in general. Come on, freaking Rian Johnson. You had to have known your writing was garbage. But anyway, guys, thank you for checking us out on Geekin Out. Thank you for coming by and checking out the updated movie review of The Last freaking Jedi and why it is a bad freaking movie. But for those of you who enjoyed The Last Jedi, hey, more power to you. Other than that, everyone, humble yourselves and thank you for checking us out on Geekin Out. If you like what you see, you want to see more, click the like and subscribe to me. And also, if you guys want to check out my other videos, they're here down below. You guys want to check out my previous unboxing on the Halo Loot Crate, which is still open for entries for the giveaway of the Avengers pop figure, the Hulkbuster 2.0. If you guys want to try and win that, comment your favorite moment from the Avengers trailer in the Loot Crate unboxing. Other than that, everyone, humble yourselves and thank you for checking us out on Geekin Out. And I'm yours truly, Nate Martin. Hasta la vista.